Celestial blessings, and welcome to the lifting the veil of the sacred feminine. Hello, my name is Helen Demetriou, and today I bring you a message about bringing back the goddess into the consciousness of humanity. Because more than any other time in history, the ultimate need to bring back the goddess must occur now and happen not only in our hearts, but manifest in matter. As the earth exits the wormhole and enters the golden age that we are in now, we are slowly being made aware of the coming of the goddess in the form of Inanna, who is also known as Venus, Aphrodite, Ishtar, Astarte, Mary Magdalene, etc. Her motherly love is so imperative, as is her consort, who is dearly awaited to release her from the chains that have bound her for the last 2,000 plus years. This is the time of the apocalypse, and if you are not aware of the meaning of this word, I will explain it to you. Apocalypsis, which translated phonetically from Greek to English, apocalypsis means the lifting of the veil, or the revelation. It means something that was hidden from most of humanity for the longest time, purposefully and deceitfully, and will be revealed, and this is one of my missions here on earth. To reveal that which was hidden, not by divine law, but by deception. Now, representations of the goddess can be found everywhere, and she can be seen in nature. It is not unusual to find flowers or rock crevices to emulate the sacred yoni, and it is not surprising, being as nature is the goddess herself. Now, I'm not going to go into great detail of how the veiling of the goddess is one of the greatest deceptions of so-called religious fathers, but something that we fail to realize is that if this occurred, and we know that it did, then it was within full knowledge and permission of the goddess herself, and also part of the divine plan. Now, whatever her reason for agreeing to this, she is still part of this decision. Some will argue with me and express that it was man and patriarchy and their fear of the goddess who chose to stifle her word. Now, this is true in a sense, yet if we say this, we are claiming that man is more powerful than the deity themselves, and we know that this is not true. Everything that has happened on this earth, regardless of free will, is within the divine plan. Now, I agree that we have those lower vibrating societies whom try to eradicate the gods and make man an object of worship, and it is they who created the matrix, which many are still lost within, sadly. These beings collected the mystery teachings and used the tool of the gods to direct the majority and teach that the Christ and God is outside of themselves. And if man looks outside of himself, he finds what has been created within the matrix. Now, this is where a Sephoria comes in, a Sephoria mystery school that I co-created. Esophoria is an eye condition where the eye itself turns inward, and metaphorically, this is what is needed in order to find the true divinity within. It is also within that we can find both the yin and the yang, both the god and the goddess, for it is only when we recognize both polarities within the self do we realize that we are divine, created by the gods and containing the divine gene. It is by looking within and not outside of ourselves that we see the true representation of the Creator, for we are the true idols. We are the ones that represent the gods, created by the Father and Mother of mankind. Another interesting question which may arise is, why did the gods allow the lower vibrating beings to create the matrix? And my answer would be, because even they are working for the divine plan without even realizing it. Now, when we talk about esophoria and looking within, we are trying to explain that esophoria is part of the divine plan in the kingdom and queendom of earth. This is why esophoria has been brought to you, because everything is governed by divine timing of Kronos and the divine intervention of Anangi, who is inevitability. So let's return to the subject of the apocalypse, the unveiling of that which has been kept purposefully veiled and deceitfully veiled. Now, even if this is also part of the divine plan, why is now the time of revelation? As I said, the lower vibrating beings who have been taken hold of the direction of humanity, those who have chosen to work against the divine plan but unknowingly are tools of the divine plan, who created the matrix which has veiled the truth in the goddess, have abused the God-given right of free will. In the ancient Sumerian text regarding the gods, we can see that even the gods had rules that they had to follow. Even they must abide by the rules of the divine plan. Although they also have free will, this was also given to them by the God Most High, and which is why they must honour and respect this. Now, due to now being the return of the gods, is why now it is permitted for the unveiling to occur, and for those who have abused their free will to face judgment. With the return of the gods, we are transported out of the wormhole and into the seventh dimension. Many others express that we are entering the fifth dimension, but this would not align with the energies of Aquarius, where in this age humanity is becoming more aware, seeing beyond the veil and connecting with the divine. With the crown chakra being the seventh chakra found on the body, it is clear that the return of the gods and reconnecting them with them are we entering into the age of celestial consciousness. It is in the seventh dimension that the God and Goddess within us are resurrected, and within this dimension that we begin to become aware of the divine plan and the divine laws which must be upheld by all. As we move into the God consciousness, we see through the true eye, the all-seeing eye from within, and the unveiling of the matrix begins. It is then that we start to see beyond the matrix, and beyond the matrix the goddess awaits us in her full and holy glory. When the all-seeing eye of God looks within, and with the help of esophoria, we begin to see in true light the ego which also dwells inside. It is only when we look inside do we see this ego, and only then can we face it head on and begin to dismantle it from our newfound celestial consciousness. The ego for many will be the obstacle that blinds us from the truth and blocks us from seeing and believing in the goddess who has always dwelled within. The Holy Sophia, the Shekinah, the Shakti, the Holy Spirit is what we have been trained not to see, and so we must observe with clarity and without ego in order to see her. When we discover her existence inside of us, we shall also resurrect the Christ consciousness into our reality. The goddess is not just an idol sitting on an altar. Neither is she something which is external either. Though I myself have representations of the goddess in my home and places of worship, I always reiterate to others the importance of remembering that she is also living inside. Many tend to choose an aspect of the goddess which mostly depicts themselves, one which they feel comfortable with, and this is their inner goddess projecting itself to the outside so that it may become a visual manifestation of the sacred feminine. This is also why we believe in different deities, because our relationship with the divine is unique, and not every aspect of the goddess will be part of each of our incarnations. This is not because we are incomplete though, but because we choose different aspects to be experienced in different lifetimes. Many religions abhor idolatry, and I can understand their reasons to a certain level. Their belief that we should not worship God in the form of man is in part helpful to not worshipping man. Yet what about the form? We are taught in the Sumerian tablets that we were created in the image of the gods, and so if this is the image of the gods, we should not be afraid of the temple which sits the god and goddess. This vessel that carries our spirit was created for a reason, and we should never feel shame at admiring its beauty. Now, the negative side of some religious teachings to not seeing God in human form is erasing the memory that we too are divine, because we too carry the divine gene, and so we too are all gods. We are the children of the gods. Now, I want to talk a little bit about theurgy. Theurgy means divine working, and it describes rituals performed to invoke the presence of the gods or a god. The goal behind these rituals was to unite within the divine, and this is exactly why many practitioners of the craft have representations of the gods in the form of idols, because they invoke the presence of the god into the idol so that the idol and God share the same space. Now, why is this of any importance at all? And is it really needed? My answer to this is no, it is not needed. But because we are visual creatures, we resonate with images that evoke our own recognition and enosis, which is uniting. It is also recorded in the ancient scripts that the gods asked for images of themselves to be created, not to worship, but to venerate. As the Christ light and the Holy Spirit, who is the goddess, live within us, so does the essence of the divine dwell within the idol. It is in truth our image of our divine selves through the God representation, and within this imprint on our minds we can therefore look for it not only externally but internally. It is also within the divine plan that the ancients created statues and idols of the gods so that we may never forget their existence in the future, especially the goddess, and in this time when worshipping and venerating of more than one god is prohibited by all Abrahamic religions. The key factor to dissolving the veil is to deprogram our minds of the mistaken thinking that the body is of no importance, and to reprogram it in alignment with the divine will, your divine thelema. The body can be spiritual even if it is not eternal like the spirit. Just because something dies does not mean it is worthless or that it should be abused, because it does not have the same qualities or lifespan of the soul. If the body was not so important, then why would we have incarnated into matter? To incarnate, the soul needs to have a body to live in, and to be sure that if the divine spirit that we are going to dwell within, which is a vehicle, then that vehicle must be as majestic as the soul to carry it. Reincarnation is done so that the divine purpose of that spirit can be done on earth. So the body itself is divine and belongs to the divine because it was created by the divine. But by how we have been taught to perceive our body and soul, this is what segregates the soul from the body, and we see it as two different entities. By doing this, we no longer hold the thought and belief that the soul and body are one, but we have divided ourselves into two and allowed ourselves, as a consciousness, to become less than whole and complete. This also divides the divine and causes us to believe that true union with the Creator is only possible upon the death of the body, when the soul evacuates matter, when in truth union has already occurred by the uniting of body and soul. Even though we are created in the image of the divine, please remember that we do not worship the created, we venerate it, we venerate the temple. So how then do we observe our reason for being on earth if we are taught to live just to die so that we can enter paradise and be with the Creator? Many religions teach that our whole existence and reason for being born with the body is to adore God. Yet why does a soul need a body in order to do this? A soul is a consciousness which has been stored within its vibrations of timeless knowledge and experience. The soul is a genius. It is intelligent and aware and can and does worship and adore the Creator without incarnating into matter. So, must we die in order to become one with the divine? Must we die in order to enter paradise, the kingdom? One of the greatest secrets hidden is that paradise, the kingdom, is right here on earth. In fact, it is earth. By the union of spirit and body, we are then permitted to enter the kingdom, and to do this we incarnate on earth. We become the divine children created by the God and Goddess and brought to life by the Goddess to live on a planet which was decorated by her for us. Now Jesus revealed that to enter the kingdom, male and female must come together through sex. If the kingdom is earth, then why do we need to perform sex in order to enter it? Because life must be created above and below, in the celestial dimensions and on earth. The great architect designed the body with its masculine aspect creating the structure, and the female aspect giving it life and conditioning its environment. And so we are taught that God, or Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh, is both male and female, and so it is with the Shekinah being the consort, the wife of God. It is taught that the mission of man and woman is to invoke the energies of Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh and perform the sacred marriage so that there is a perfect balance on earth. Because this teaching was not given correctly to the human race, there has been a complete imbalance on earth. Christianity also wanted to teach the same thing, but believing that sex was something dirty and ungodly, so they taught that the church was the Shekinah, the female wife of God, and that Christ was married to the church, when in all actuality the church has both male and female attributes, such as the doorway being the sacred vagina and the steeple being the sacred phallus. God and the Shekinah as the two most highest seats of the tree of life, and through their union, their sexual union, the rest of the seats of the tree of life become balanced. And this leads us now to the Garden of Eden, and of course to Adam and Eve. Only when they were incarnated into matter could they leave, yet where did they go to if the kingdom is on earth? In Genesis, we are taught that Adam and Eve were expelled out of the Garden of Eden after tasting the fruit of the tree of good and evil. Yet there is nothing evil about knowledge, yet you only become wise. What was it about wisdom that was considered so negative? Through obtaining wisdom, we are able to see through the matrix and understand that we are enslaved by the laws of man and not freed by the laws of God. Sadly, through time, the lower vibrating entities, those so-called lesser gods who stayed on earth, who wanted to enslave humanity, expelled God from Eden, which means they expelled God from the hearts of man and woman, and through the demonizing of woman and blaming woman for eating the apple, they ensured that the Holy Sophia, the Shekinah, could no longer whisper her wisdom into the ears of her children, so that in matter, humans would not understand their own bindings to the laws of men who wish to imprison them within the matrix. Once again, we see the freedom within the sacred marriage that the completeness in invoking Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh brings. We must stop seeing the God of Eden as being male, but as being the Elohim, the gods plural, the male and female aspects, also known as the Anunnaki. We have been terribly misled and lost, believing only to have a father who punishes and not a mother who loves and who nurtures and teaches wisdom. Only occasionally are we taught about the fatherly love of God, but how can we have been so blind not to look at our own race and see that children need both a mother and a father? Now, as I have said many times, there cannot be one without the other. Not now, not ever. So when I say that God was expelled from Eden, I mean that both male and female aspects of the Creator, the Yud He Vav He, were expelled, and we are told in the Bible about Adam and Eve. What we are not told is that Yud He Vav He was expelled after they had incarnated into matter. Eden was created for spirit, and once incarnated, matter could not remain in Eden. Who wrote these laws, and who was the serpent of the tree of life? Many say that he was Enki, or Christ, who broke through the matrix to remind Adam and Eve that Yud He Vav He is always with them, and this is the knowledge the lesser gods did not want humanity to know. Everything is about the divine marriage, otherwise known as the sacred marriage or the Hieros Gamos. For balance, there must be a balance of both male and female energies, and they must come together to resort back to their true perfection and oneness as they were in Eden. Now please know that this also applies to homosexuals, for each couple has a more dominating female or dominating male aspect within them. Now this brings us back to why we are taught by the Abrahamic religions that male is the most potent energy, that male and patriarchy is all that exists. The biggest truth ever hidden is that God had a wife, and that true freedom of self, of soul, of humanity comes from the unity of a man and woman, body and soul, male and female. With the male energy, we are told to war with each other, to try to dominate each other. And without the female energy, we lack the wisdom to find the balance within and without. Christ taught that he came to divide, and many people take this to mean that he came to separate the people. You could see it as this, but the truth is he came to divide the male from the female so it could be clearly seen by all. His marriage with Mary Magdalene was a perfect example of his ministry, of how he had come to break the old laws in order to bring the new ones. He broke the laws of man to bring the laws of God back to earth, the laws that state there is the divine female and male, which must be recognized, otherwise those who oppose the divine laws would be punished and would pay for their divine law breaking. Man without woman is like a head without a neck. Woman without man is an empty womb and lifeless. We have been like zombies, like the living dead without our most divine mother in our consciousness. We are weakened by an overdose of male power, order and direction, when there is no power of our own to direct or to bring order to. So we are left only with chaos within, while the lesser gods, who have created the matrix, work with both male and female energies to direct humanity. To find the balance within and without, man must honor his divine masculine, but also submit and surrender to the goddess within and without. And women must also respect, honor and submit the divine masculine that lives within them and without. This is a time of change. We must bring the change. We must bring the goddess back to all consciousness, for balance can only be brought, peace can only be found in our world when we have both the goddess and the God in our hearts. In the description box are various links which can take you to more work regarding the male and female, the God and the goddess, balance and peace. I ask you also to share this work in order to enter the stage of knowing the goddess and helping others to understand her love within our world and her need to reconnect with her children and bring balance in their hearts. I love you very much. Bye bye.